DeAndre Hopkins, as it says right there in the tweet, will probably want a new deal. 30.
He'll be 31 before next season starts.
I don't think you're going to have to give up a haul
I don't either.
for 30-year-old DeAndre Hopkins.
The other day we came out with a report in regards to DeAndre Hopkins, how he might not be an Arizona Cardinal by the conclusion of this offseason. Hell, he might not be an Arizona Cardinal a month from now. So there's a lot more that we have on the topic that occurred over the past 24 hours, and we're going to take you through everything from the D-Hop trade situation to where the Arizona Cardinals stand with their head coaching process. So before we get to the content, we're bringing you guys double uploads on a daily basis, and we're really ramping up our coverage for the NFL playoffs. So do me a favor and drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. I want to give you guys a huge shout out, by the way. We got verified on Instagram. It was never a gigantic goal of mine, but it is kind of cool that we got to the point where I have a cute little blue check mark next to my name. From the bottom of my heart, man, thank you guys so much for your support. You guys know how much I love this job. I literally have trouble taking breaks from bringing you guys this content. I mean, I was making videos despite being sick 5 months ago, and it's all because of how much I love this job and the amount of support you guys give me. I don't want to get too ranty or too emotional. Just know I will forever be appreciative of your support. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! A lot of you guys have been hitting me up in the DMs telling me how much money you've been making on Prize Picks. A huge shout out to my subscriber Spencer Sims, who's made $7,000 off of his picks over the past 2 weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I play Prize Picks religiously and I post my picks to my story each and every day. If you want to try out Prize Picks right now, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you'll get up to a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. And if you get any big hits on Prize Picks, make sure you DM them to me on Instagram so I could feature you in future promos. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? If you aren't caught up to date with what's happening with DeAndre Hopkins, the other day we got a bombshell report from none other than Jordan Schultz, something that was very, very surprising, and it seems like the Arizona Cardinals have already started what appears to be a very busy offseason. In order to really understand this video, there are 3 trends in the NFL that you must be aware of. The first being, whenever a brand new front office comes in, they are more likely to do whatever they can to move on from the previous core that was in place of that team. A good example of this would be the Las Vegas Raiders and Josh McDaniels. He came in and before the season even ended decided to move on from Derek Carr despite trading for Devontae Adams. We have our own video on that if you guys want to check that out. Another thing you must be aware of is whenever there's a quarterback that is on a rookie scale contract that a team might believe in, they are more likely to trade for a true wide receiver one, an established Pro Bowler to assist that young quarterback's development. Examples of this include Philadelphia Eagles trading for AJ Brown to help Jalen Hurts, Miami Dolphins trading for Tyreek Hill to assist Tua. And I guess in some weird way, although this isn't necessarily the same exact thing because this individual was drafted, but you could also throw in the fact that the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase for Joe Burrow, despite Joe Burrow already having a pretty good wide receiver core with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins before Jamar Chase got there. The final thing that you must be aware of in order to understand what's going on is once said young QB gets a contract extension and is no longer on a rookie scale contract, there's a good chance that said wide receiver one might get traded if he's past the age of 30 or getting close to that. An example of this would be what the Kansas City Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill when he wanted to get paid significantly more money after Patrick Mahomes' cap hit started stressing out the Kansas City Chiefs a little bit more. And to be honest, man, this has been a tried and true formula. I mean, a huge part of Josh Allen's development was due to the Buffalo Bills trading for Stephon Diggs. And in this instance, the Arizona Cardinals pillaging the Houston Texans for DeAndre Hopkins a couple of years ago when Kyler Murray was coming off of his rookie year definitely assisted Kyler Murray in his own development. Unfortunately, Kyler Murray is now the 3rd highest paid quarterback in the entire NFL, right after Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. So as a result, when you combine that and the fact that Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, the old general manager, have brought in DeAndre Hopkins, and Cliff Kingsbury, the old head coach that drew his game plan around DeAndre Hopkins and was so dependent on DeAndre Hopkins that the Arizona Cardinals performed horribly without him and with him as well this year, but you get my point. It makes sense why the Cardinals would try to move on from D-Hop. If he continues on the path that he currently is on, there's definitely one more big contract in his career. And Jordan Schultz pretty much doubled down on this, saying that the Arizona Cardinals plan to try and trade all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. D-Hop has 2 years and $34.36 million left on his contract and is likely to seek a new deal. Owner Michael Bidwell plans to express this to GM candidates. So I guess that's why this news came out, because in these interviews, Michael Bidwell is telling these GM candidates like, yo, we need to get rid of D-Hop. How would you go about handling the situation? We can't have you pulling a Bill O'Brien. We need some value in return for him. Jordan Schultz is an awesome insider, but in the event that anyone would be a little bit skeptical as to what Jordan Schultz is saying here,
why would the Arizona Cardinals trade DeAndre Hopkins? It wouldn't make any sense.
well, we have an update on the situation. DeAndre Hopkins posted this onto his Instagram a day ago, saying, "Forever grateful." Now, you can't get more cryptic than that. Obviously, you know what he's talking about. You don't just post a picture of yourself a day after this news gets to the internet saying "forever grateful" and call it a coincidence, although there are times where players would actually hope that you believe in that. The one thing that is interesting about this is the top candidate to potentially become the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals appears to be Sean Payton, and I would imagine that Sean Payton would rather have DeAndre Hopkins on his roster than not have DeAndre Hopkins on his roster. And for those of you guys that don't believe Sean Payton is the most likely head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, just look at all the interviews we have on Sean Payton praising the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray.
Audience at home, what is your current contract status with the Saints?
2 years left on a contract with New Orleans, so 23 this upcoming year and 24. Any team that would want to inquire or speak with me can do so. They just need permission from the Saints. So I think ownership and the functionality of the front office is most important.
Line when you have a Kyler that does stuff, Sean, that nobody in the world can do.
What would I like to see? I'd love to see him have a better running game under center. I'd love to see him hand the ball off to another really good player.
We have a report from none other than Ian Rappaport saying that so far the Arizona Cardinals are scheduled to interview Sean Payton, which would be very exciting, man, because I think if there is any head coach that Kyler Murray would respect, that could possibly get the best out of Kyler Murray just based upon what Sean Payton was doing with Taysom Hill under center, it would be Sean Payton. Now, according to Tom Pelissaro, Sean Payton has been doing homework on the Arizona job. He's a huge Kyler Murray fan, and with no GM in place, it would be an opportunity to set up the whole operation. And if you've been paying attention to the way Sean Payton has been going about his business, it seems like he is trying to put together a super team of head coaches to go to his next destination. A huge reason why he retired was, with all due respect to the Saints, they were in salary cap hell. They didn't have any assets. I forget if he retired before the horrific trade that the Saints made with the Eagles or after the horrific trade that the Saints made with the Eagles that cost them their first rounder this year. And it seemed like this team was going absolutely nowhere. With respect to the Saints, they're currently in the midst of either a rebuild or a retool, whatever you want to call it. They definitely have talent on their roster. They have a great defense. I think they're honestly a quarterback away from greatness, but I can understand why Sean Payton would want to take a year off and go to a fresh destination. So this all leaves us with one question. I gave you the Arizona Cardinals side of things. What about the DeAndre Hopkins side of things? Where is D-Hop likely to go to? Well, I updated my list. My top pick is going to be the New England Patriots because of this moment he had with Bill Belichick.
Glad we only have to play you every 4 years, man.
Love you, man.
You too. You just half the season, still going to lead the league in receiving.
You know I do my job, man.
Yeah.
But on top of that, any team that has a quarterback on a rookie scale contract that needs a true number one wide receiver is automatically going to be there. So teams like the New England Patriots that already have Bill Belichick, who D-Hop respects, but also has Mac Jones, who is a quarterback that really could use a better wide receiver one option than Nelson Aguilar or Jacoby Myers. Another team that we could throw in there is the Chicago Bears. They have Justin Fields. Justin Fields' best wide receiver this past year was Darnell Mooney. They traded for Chase Claypool. That didn't work out either. Probably my favorite option on this list would be none other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, Trevor Lawrence does have some solid wide receiver options in the form of Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Christian Kirk and D-Hop have familiarity with one another from their time in Arizona together. They also have Calvin Ridley coming through. They also have a lot of capital allocated to their wide receiver room between Christian Kirk and potentially Calvin Ridley. So would bringing in D-Hop as well make a lot of sense? And finally, a team who still technically has a quarterback that's on a rookie scale contract, believe it or not, is none other than the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, Lamar Jackson is in line for a huge contract extension or the franchise tag this offseason, but he's never had that dominant wide receiver one option. His best receiver was Hollywood Brown. But the interesting thing is D-Hop does have a no trade clause. Would he want to be traded to a team that employs a very run heavy offense that is ran by Greg Roman? I mean, you don't really hear of a lot of stud wide receivers coming out of the Greg Roman offense. Maybe Michael Crabtree when he was a San Francisco 49er, but aside from that, not really. I guess you could throw Anquan Bold in there as well. I don't know. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Do you agree with the Arizona Cardinals trying to move on from D-Hop? And if so, where do you think he's likely to go? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping her mic until our next upload.